Right. One wise man some time back said that everything else is the body. Everything else is the body. IT is the soul. And that's where you come in, ladies and gentlemen. So, we are talking about the soul. And we are talking about something new, something that is going to be life-changing. They say that an idea whose time has come, nobody can stop that. Not even an army can stop an idea whose time has already come. And what you're going to see next, ladies and gentlemen, is truly something which for the rest of the world, of course, would be life-changing, would be, paradigm shifting and all of those big words. But for you, I'm sure you are part of this. And we have another interesting presentation coming up. Ladies and gentlemen, before we play the audiovisual for you on stage, I would like to introduce to you Mr. Anuj Bhalla, Vice President and Global Business Head, System Integration and Maintenance Services and Products, GIS Wipro Limited. Mr. Bhalla is going to be running us through an insightful session on IT infrastructure and transformation. So, ladies and gentlemen, what you're going to see up here on stage before Mr. Bhalla takes over is a short audiovisual, sir. An audiovisual which is going to take you into the future. So, tighten your seatbelts and get ready for a ride of a lifetime. Here we go.
Amazing. These bees are a perfect example of a complex system working seamlessly to deliver something as sweet as honey. I wish my business ran the same way. Despite having adopted virtualization and cloud, how can I get more out of it and have a good user experience as well? How do we meet the ever-increasing demand for compute, storage, and networking resources continuously with ever-shrinking budgets? How do I leverage cutting-edge software-defined technologies while retaining legacy? My organization expects me to deliver business solutions instantaneously with constantly changing requirements.
Wipro's consultants and subject matter experts embody the Open Data Center solution with proven integration expertise in cloud, compute, storage, and networking. Collaborations with alliances with technology leaders, industry forums, and innovative startups keep Wipro at the forefront.
Wipro's Open Data Center solution appears to be the answer to my problem. But is there a way to make the transition seamless?
Certainly. Wipro's Open Data Center Transformation Framework for Software-Defined Infrastructure Adoption makes this possible. Landscape discovery with tools and workshops provide insights. Analyze critical data, assess current maturity levels, along with workload profiling and dependency mapping. Define technical and business roadmaps that architect agile services. Phased and seamless adoption of open compute, open storage, open network, cloud, and orchestration to ensure adoption. And finally, achieve optimization through revalidation, reuse, standardization, and feature enhancement.
Agreed. But how do I actually adopt this in my running environment?
Wipro will transform your existing data center landscape from a multi-portal to a consolidated single pane for administrators and a self-service portal for business users over 4 stages. Stage 1 increases virtualization, introduces the Storage Resource Manager, and virtualizes security. Network access and end-of-life switches are upgraded with software-defined network-compatible devices. Network transformation will differ based on the overlay or underlay solution. Finally, this state achieves limited orchestration and automation of workloads. Wipro's automation tools considerably reduce migration time and risk. Stage 2 sees an increase in commodity hardware adoption, operating system standardization, and containerization. Both tape libraries and Tier 3 and 4 storages are optimized and aligned to Wipro's certified software-defined storage solution. A software-defined network controller is introduced, and access and aggregate switches are replaced with SDN-ready switches. Monitoring and security management are modernized and integrated with the underlying infrastructure components. The entire ecosystem is integrated with the Wipro Service Management Framework, ServiceNext. In Stage 3, streamlining and resource optimization continues with migration of all possible applications and databases to the virtualized or containerized infrastructure. Software-defined storage is introduced. Tier 1 and Tier 2 storage are automated, and infrequently used data is moved to less expensive Tier 4 software-defined storage. All SDN-ready access and aggregate switches, including the core switches, is integrated to the cloud. A customized self-service portal is enabled for private cloud orchestration. Infrastructure as a service is now available. In Stage 4, the private cloud is integrated with multiple public clouds, enabling a truly hybrid data center powered by a cloud brokerage solution. The data center is now geared to provide platform as a service, which can be further leveraged to deploy DevOps, thereby accelerating software development, testing, and delivery across the enterprise. Wipro's software-defined infrastructure platform, Open Data Center, lowers TCO through reutilization of existing hardware, automation, and integrating green IT into the infrastructure. Analytics and intelligence tools provide insights on requirements and performance, ensuring preparedness. Dynamic allocation of resources ensures mobility and portability with ease of scale, enabling migration of workloads from the data center to public and private clouds.
Wipro's Open Data Center platform deploys interoperable, automated, monitored, and secure enterprise solutions with intelligent analytics, creating a centrally managed, agile, business-responsive, and automized data center.
In a world where everyone wants more control, elasticity, and adaptability, the Wipro Open Data Center platform makes it possible to non-disruptively adopt change and nurture innovation constantly. Wipro Open Data Center, reimagining the core. Do business better.
Wow, a lot of technology, a lot of slides. Let me start on a different note. Let me just move away of technology and get into why all this is happening. And let me start with a personal anecdote. I have to pick up one of these, so let me do that later. Yeah. So a few weeks back, in the morning, I belong to that generation where my dad used to hold my hand and take me to the bus stop to drop me at the bus stop, right? And we'll typically, reach early, wait for the bus to come, right? That's the experience I grew up with, right? A few weeks back, right, me and my wife were there, and I have a 12-year-old son and a 5-year-old daughter. So she ensures that the parents have to go to the bus stop with her, otherwise she doesn't go to school. So which means one of us has to go. And we were late, like any and every household, and the bus was going to go. So we were debating who's going to go, right? And I had a presentation in office, and I was rushing, and so was she. And while that hot debate was going on, right, suddenly my son shouted from the ground floor saying, "Chill out, there is time," right? First I wanted to give him a sermon of, this is how you talk to your dad. But before I said, "How are you saying this?" So he called me, he said, "Let me show you," right? And he showed me a screen portal of that bus, right? It showed the bus was 5 minutes away from the stop where he normally boards the bus, right? I said, "Wow." I said, "But let's quickly go down, right? It'll take time." Then he opened up an app on an Excel file which he had created, said, I take so many steps to reach the stop, right? That takes 2.5 minutes, right? Because you're old and you're slow, so let me give it 4 minutes, right? So we still have adequate time. So, we will leave, don't rush. But in this whole experience, there's a very paramount change which is happening, right? Our lifestyles are changing. And hence the customer experience is changing. Let me move on to the stage 2, right? Vegetables, right? Household. We're all used to that vegetable wala who will ring the bell, right? And someone will go buy vegetables, right? No longer now, right? Before my wife is back home, right? All the vegetables are stocked in. Some of this is really changing. Mobile banking, I had Purushottam talking about it, right? But look at the experience. A cousin of mine wanted to go to the bank because she got a project. I said, why? And she's 15 years now. I said, you've not gone to a bank branch. She said, no, everything happens at home, Dad. Right? So, so it's a very, very different, the new generation is coming out in a different environment. The experience of the daily life is changing. And when that changes, right, the current definition of the OEM partners who are there in the market, the current players who deliver service, the way its service is delivered is all changing, right? Today, what stands for competition is a question mark, right? So in my college days, we used to hear about Nike, right? And Nike was known, in my marketing lecture, always used to talk about it. They never got into manufacturing. It's about branding and ensuring the compliance at a governance level, right? That was one in the hundreds, right? Now it's all talking about the same thing. You don't need to be the guy who actually delivers when you actually plan a service out, right? So the models are changing. And a lot of this, right? A lot of that transformation is from IT. I mean, and that's kudos to people in this room, right? In the IT fraternity who are leading this transformation, and only sky is the limit as to the way it's transforming, it's spreading across. I will try to move quickly on some of the slides which I've covered and try relating to this experience. So which one does work? This is the. I got the answer. Okay, thanks. So, and this is my favorite slide. I like showing this. This shows how it's changing. The traditional elephant walk is on a bazooka now, right? Government is one aspect of it, right? Industry is one aspect of it. All that is culminating into a differential experience, right? Which means a lot for all businesses and hence for IT, which will make it happen for them. And if you look at the different roles, right? Today, if you look at the CEO, right? The competition as it changes, right? And, ensuring a quarter-on-quarter performance, ensuring the curve moves up, right? And ensuring that new products are getting launched, services are getting launched, he's got a goal to go, right? The CFO wants complete services now on an as-is model, right? He wants minimal investments, he wants to clearly see the returns, and he wants to see it in the same quarter, right? So the CFO expectation is changing. The CEO is a harried guy, right? Some of the data which never he could hide behind are all there in all dashboards. All the simplicity and the agility a lot of people have bought in, right? And there's a lot of expectations and transparency which is coming in. And finally, it's the innovation bit. And that's becoming stronger and stronger. And that's where, there are multiple talks all the time in all forums as to how the CIO role or the CTO role is changing. A role which traditionally ran on operational budgets at a 50 to 60% level is got a different dimension at all, right? While those challenges remain with the shrinking budgets, how do you make some of these new things happening? So that puts us in a very unique situation. So there is this business, right? And the goals are set. And the CIO, typically who would manage a lot of maintenance contracts, a lot of vendor discussions, is suddenly on a daily basis landed up with a different kind of objectives, right? And he doesn't know what hits him, right? Because there is some new model which has come out, there is a new marketing campaign which has come in, there is a new service provider who's come in who completely changes the landscape, right? And the message is clearly the expectations are very changing and very transformational. And how are they changing? Zooming in a little too on the IT side, the agility required. The speed, if I want to, for example, the speed at which you generate a virtual machine, right? It used to be 10 days, 20 days earlier when you'll take a capex. Now everyone talks about between a private cloud or a public cloud between 3 to 20 minutes, right? And this data center presentation, the slide we put earlier, a VM doesn't solve the purpose. When you have a pure vanilla VM, loading the network services on it, for example, the load balancer part of it, attaching a storage onto it, attaching the network onto it, is a long drawn process even after you generate the VM. We have this running in Bangalore in a demonstration, and we live run both environments together. One screen the legacy environment and on one screen the agile environment. That's the speed a typical CEO is asking today, right? Services based, right? So the capex thing is gone. Now whether you do outcome based at a technology level, which is maybe at a ticket level or at a business outcome level. So if I get so many footfalls or to a customer, right? How do I pay you based on that, right? Those are the models which clearly are being asked of. And finally, open systems. Now, open systems is an approach. It's a platform, and Wipro is really spearheading that across globally. It's about ensuring a customer is looking at each layer of his IT, right? Starting from the physical data center layer up onto the platform as a service layer, as to how does he have freedom of choice from a run perspective for the next 5 years. It's not only about a design or a build, it's all about also the run. And that's a key part. And we've created a close to an ecosystem. Obviously, you have the key partners which are there today in the market. We've also created a startup ecosystem with close to 50 OEMs globally, some Bangalore-based or India-based, some Silicon Valley-based on doing that. So we went ahead, we as an organization created the COE, created live experiences, and I'll talk more about in the deck. We created something, and we heard both these speakers talk about IoT, something called connected intelligence to talk about it. We are doing a lot of work on smart city, right, as an outcome, and analytics, and I'll cover a little bit more on this. But a very interesting device on the last part which I've covered in the slide, which is somewhere while the non-IT and IT merges, the hardware is debundling, which means over a period of time when the intelligence went into the box, right, is slowly getting debundled. So, I've started internally back in Wipro a new program, right, and I had to give a lot of answers when we were wanting to roll it out. We said we are creating a new section of skilled people, which is infrastructure programmers, right? And the job, the new category we see is infrastructure as a code. And there are a lot of questions on it, but we genuinely believe this debundling of hardware and the software, coupled and overlapped with the freedom of choice, will really change the way the industry works, will change a lot of OEMs who are there in the market on the way they work, and you see some of these OEMs really embracing it well and transforming along the path. A lot of startups, right? A lot of boutique companies are coming in. There was a lot of skepticism earlier to try out some of those, right? But there are a lot of beautiful things they're getting onto the table, and there's an acceptance on that. So that's really changing the ecosystems led by the software-defined environment. So what are these key themes, to pick up a few? I spoke about software-defined infrastructure. It completely changes experience. We heard a speaker talk about the temperature part, right? We've done work for a global company, for a retail giant across countries, where they had this issue of electricity consumption because in sections of store, the lights used to be on and the bills used to be huge, right? We figured out a way of converting that the light into electricity on a pulse sensation basis, moving on to a central device, ensuring that, at what levels they switch off, right? And if there are any approvals required for it. Completely change their expenses, right? So some of these things are possible because of the way software defined is getting into. Earlier, and that's a classic thing, network was always seen outside a data center. When I say outside a data center, handled very separately. So platform and storage would typically be together, network would be together. First thing we did was merge both of them together. Because tomorrow's data center gets managed from the cloud layer, right? How you provision, how do you do deprovision, how do you manage cost? And as you change some of these experiences, right, SDI or software defined infrastructure is going to lead it. As a service I spoke about. So, we were with this customer Pardon me for bringing in a lot of anecdotes because I saw a lot of technical data. So, I'm just wanting to get a different flavor into the discussions. So, there's this customer, a week back I met. And, we were working, and this is a global customer. We were working with him for a long time. I remember meeting him 6 to 8 months back. He was so conscious of which are the brands he's going to work with. And the discussion started with brands and then used to get into maybe SLAs in the last 5 minutes or in some of those pointers. We just closed a large order with him. And, in the discussion, right, he said, look, you guys are no longer competing with other competition like-minded IT companies. You're competing with the business case I put in inside, right? If you are able to create enough ammunition on the business case, right, and he wanted a 50% plus discount, right, on his current running, that's where the story is made. So the market is completely changing the way they looked at it. And another thing he said on a side note, he said, by the way, even if you give me a second-hand equipment, used equipment, I'm okay with. And I looked at him because I was not expecting that. He said, and then he paused and said, because he saw my expression, right, and said, I understand this, right? We are realizing more and more SLAs are your responsibility. IOPS guarantee is your responsibility. Apps, click, press is your responsibility. So I'm fine with, in any case, it's at the back end. So from that point to what lies on-prem, what lies in hosted, what lies in outside in Wipro data centers was all our choice. The mix is ours. The brands are given by us. The transformation we do in his equipment, all equipment moves to us, right, is ours. So, whether we move on to an SDI, cut my cost, or I maintain legacy, but cut efficiency cost on the run side. Now, this is the new face of an SI. And that's what the market is looking at, right? And each layer, if you look at this, so many players today, knitting all of them together with an open approach is the key going forward. Smart city, from an India standpoint, is rarely talked about, right? We hear all about it all the time. It's really opening up doors, right? It's that customer experience I spoke about in the beginning. It is an outcome of the experience of citizens which will change, right? Be it street lighting, be it smart lighting. So I met this a company, a startup, and a very interesting one. They're making a software product, right? So we all go in, right? So I used to read in my marketing times, when you walk in, 70 to 80% of the customers who walk into a mall will go to the left, right? So at that time, the strategies used to be, how do you take the left space, then a right space in a mall? He's actually made a software which on the eyeball contact, when you pick up a product, right, it will have an RFID tag. It will sense that you picked up one shampoo. And again, when you pick up another shampoo, it will pick up 3 more things, right, and send you typical shampoo. If you're looking for this area, should have these 3-4 things. And you will find these 2 other brands on this part of the mall. I mean, you're making it so sharp. So as the mall size grows bigger, right, some of these experiences completely change how we shop, how we decide, how we promote, right? So, so it's a different world altogether as we go forward on this. And, analytics plays a brilliant role on it. A quick preview on how we've gone ahead on the Wipro data center side, right? It's a unique one. Currently, we're the first ones globally doing it. On the utilization side, on the open source companies we promoted in this. This is the typical approach I mentioned to you. It's about future proofing. It cuts down a lot of vendor interlock. Not that the vendor interlock is bad, right? But as you get into IoT and as you get into some of the newer apps where you need the lock into an API. And let me pick up another example again. So there was this large media company we moved, a magazine company, from a pure paper magazine to a digital magazine. And they moved on to our open data center, and we were having an issue, right? The volumes and the storage were not getting attached. And there was a multi-pathing issue we discovered. So actually, the engineer got it into the operating system and blocked multi-pathing from there rather than at the storage level. I have been a delivery guy for a large part of my career. I could have never done this earlier. I remember solving a lot of banks escalations in the early part of my career where I would struggle, whether it's a storage issue or a network issue or maybe somewhere, in between when they're connected, right? This is completely different. I can pick up one component, go resolve completely that area from another side. And imagine getting into a Windows at an operating system level and troubleshooting it. So it's really changing, and some of these paradigms we've really built into this framework which we've created. Typically, how we've gone ahead with this, we picked up the key proprietary infras which are there. A lot of proprietary organizations are changing, right? For example, you heard Purushottam. I've seen Cisco really change and open up new frontiers, right? The way they're embracing OpenStack, and that's aligning with time, and that's brilliant, right? We see a lot of new open source companies coming in, right? They are getting in and they're bringing in new solutions at I should be cautious with that word, really substantial lower costs, right, with higher efficiency. And in this we've created together the whole ecosystem, and this ecosystem which gets created, how do you manage it through a single pane of the glass is what we've tried doing. So we've picked each one of them, we stacked them, we've interweaved them in COEs and for certain customers now, and made that run. And we have a TCO calculator for them as to how their costs were and how the costs are now. Actually, let me pick up one more example now here. So we had this customer who had this storage issue, right? He was busy buying boxes all the time. We went in, we completely analyzed his storage landscape. We picked up which was his business critical one, which was his manageable one like backup, right? We tiered it. We realized also at month ends where he gets stuck when he needs more storage. We picked all that. We created the backend technology interweaving on that, created a single pane, a single screen where he could decide, pick up, this is my workload. He picks up from a business one to a second tier one, and it shows immediately in the TCO what is the cost he will change. At the month end, he wants to increase something, or certain applications which are loaded are critical. He picks them up and puts them on the business critical, his cost goes up. Back end, you tier various vendors, right? There are multiple vendors in the market. Some works at 99.999, some work on IOP, guaranteed IOPs, and that's how you tier it. And his cost went down close to 20 to 30% with a better experience. Moving on, that's how it goes. So, you bring in at each layer, right? And I picked up storage, I could pick up network, I could pick up cloud. When do you burst? How do you burst? There's always a debate between is public comes out lower, public cloud, or is private cloud coming out lower? When do we do it? Some of these things through a single pane and with commercials coming in and with technology is really changing the experience. So there's one experience, I was talking about it, where we picked up the complete roadmap for that customer, and we moved him from a complete paper magazine to a digital magazine, and that's really impacted business. And we worked on a variable model with him. So right, it's consumption as a service, and we're really seeing this model across. So first it was pure commercial lease one would do. Then we move up. Now you give typically an infra as a service. But we are having customers now doing platform as a service with us, with business outcome as a model, as a percentage of it. Moving on, this is the other part of the needle. So on one side, when the systems open up, there are opportunities which are coming up. On the other side, there's hyper convergence. And one will see more and more, because a lot of organizations will come back and talk about how it improves performance, how it resolves issues between products. And this is also here to stay, and a lot of organizations are investing in this as a concept. The next one is smart city, right? So Wipro as an organization, right, in any case is across, right? We have our consumer division, we have our water division as an organization. So it's into multiple, and that's how we started in the country as a company. We've picked up those learnings and created an ecosystem around that. So be it smart metering, be it surveillance, be it shared NOC, right? We've ensured that we pick up our grassroots experience, because a lot of it is not only technology, but a lot of domain knowledge also. So we picked up our domain knowledge, we picked up our experience from those companies, right? For example, Wipro Water, when we do smart metering or SCADA projects, right? Surveillance, when we've done a lot of work on that side. So some of this we bundled together and created this already. And let me talk about a case here. So a lot of you would have heard about Kumbh Mela. Can I have at least a few hands saying, yeah, we are aware of Kumbh Mela? I see a lot of hands. So there was an article in a local magazine in Nashik saying, no longer Shyam and Ryam will get separated in Kumbh Mela. So if someone has seen those old movies, typically a Hindi movie would start 15 years back with Ram and Shyam getting separated in movies. We've gone ahead this time and in Kumbh Mela completely done the surveillance implementation for them, which means the whole thing is monitored through cameras, through analytics for them. And actually this incident happened. So, two brothers were lost in the Mela, and that's how that article came next day in the newspaper. And that's how some of these technology actually become real life experiences, right? So a lot of work we are doing on this side. I've talked about one. There's another one we are doing in Maharashtra itself. We are almost on the verge of starting it now, right? On surveillance, and we see a lot of work going forward on this. So this is our connected intelligence offering. We go beyond IoT in this. So we heard speakers talk about the OT or the operational technology. At a manufacturing level into IT merging, right? And I can double click and talk more technology jargon on it. But to simplistically put, we work together. One, we are working as a goal towards the merging of OT and IT. Second, we're picking up unique examples where we can change experiences of customer, right? And then putting on top of it analytics. That's another strength area Wipro carries, right? And can we get that onto a variable model for a lot of customers? This is one customer, we are doing the connected intelligence stuff in South, where actually when a consumer walks to the bus stop, right, and I do again remember those long waits at a bus stops, right, where you could through the app pick up how far is the bus stop from where you are. Second, it will tell you if you reach in so much time, the next bus is expected so much time, right, and the fare and other things. So, so it completely changes the experience, of the transport of that city, right, including the metro. This is not only bus transport, also metro, and there are multiple such projects we are currently running in the market. A little technology behind the scenes, how we connect it, right, this is maturing, a lot of new players in it, a lot of innovation in this, right, is happening. And a lot of this is there in the COE, and we'll be happy to talk about it offline during breaks if someone is keen. This is the analytic piece. And in the Indian market is seeing a lot more of this than what it saw 2 years back. In fact, a lot of government tenders are talking about it now, right? And somewhere how to churn the data, bring out that inputs and circle them back, right, is becoming key. And this will keep playing a major role as we go forward. This is the COE I spoke about. So, we have got a mesh of COEs with us in Bangalore and in Mountain View in California. They're all connected. Where one is the open data center we spoke about. Then there's an IoT COE we run. There's a telecom COE run. So, it's a mesh of COEs to create a real workload-centric experience for customers, when they decide to transform. Some of key cases which we've done in India, right? We built the largest data center, a third-party data center in India, right? We've done a lot of unique IoT implementations. And a very interesting thing is, it's about ownership, which I wanted to bring out with this slide, right? It's not about buying a product, maybe a service, now I stand corrected, right? It's not only about implementing that. It's about implementing it across 1,000 cities and then putting it together and running it for 5 years. And then getting paid per transaction, right? That's the new models which are coming, and a lot of sweat goes into it in ensuring some of these mechanisms work. So let me end with this small Dilbert joke, right? So across all, wherever one has gone, if you ask who wants change, it's across we hear we want change. But if you step back and people have to, there is pain, right, when the change happens, preparing for the change, how it happens, how it impacts not only the current department but other departments. That's where, Wipro, through its expertise and the processes and the technology, right, simplifies that, right, to make it happen for you. Great. Thank you. Thank you for the time. Happy to take any questions.
Yes, if we have any question, can we have a hand in the air? Somebody will come. We've got a question at the back, please. Excuse me.
Hi, I'm Bharti Lele from L&T Infotech. I would like to know which are the open technologies that you have used for Wipro Open Data Center in building the robust data center that you have shown us.
Sure, Aarti. If you break it, right, each aspect of the data center. So, for example, if I were to pick up cloud, right, each layer will have network or storage, all will have. In cloud, typically you'll have a VMware solution which is running in the market today for a private cloud solution. On OpenStack, we work with players like Mirantis, with Red Hat, with SUSE. There's certain beta state companies, right, in terms of how you can do the cloud orchestration and automation, right, when you work back-end with Chef or Puppet kind of technologies. If you pick up network, right, we work with traditional partners like Cisco, right, and the new areas of Cisco, for example, ACI, right, and that's really getting a lot of customers, and some new organizations which are there. In storage, if you pick up, right, there are the traditional partners, the ecosystem there. We work with companies like Nexenta, Cloudbyte, Cariango, the multiple players who are there, who are changing a lot of the way the layer works. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
We have another question, or in any case, now we have a tea break, and we could take some questions during the tea break. Right now, I would like to request Mr. Ibrahim Ahmed to join us on stage to hand over a memento to Mr. Bhalla. And Mr. Bhalla, unfortunately, you have made a lot of these storylines redundant. Now they can no longer make movies about Ramesh and Suresh getting lost over there, thanks to you. Yeah, so Bollywood has lost a lot of scripts over there. So a huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for Wipro and for Mr. Bhalla. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us on stage. Thank you.